Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Nick Petro at the National Weather Service in Raleigh with your 11:30 update on the winter storm, Sunday, December 9th, 2018, as it relates to Central North Carolina weather. So appreciate everybody for joining me, and those who are watching this live. I appreciate your storm reports. These are incredibly helpful. I really appreciate it. Okay, so a couple things I want to point out real quick. Let's see. We just removed the advisory for Scotland, Hoke, Cumberland, and Sampson. Winter weather threat is over there. In Wayne County as well. Let's see. We've removed the warning for Anson and Richmond and replaced it with an advisory just in case there's any kind of sleet pellets that get involved in the action here across the northern portion of your counties. And still, we can't rule out maybe a touch of freezing rain across the western portions of the advisory counties later today. So we're going to hold off canceling any other watches, warnings, and advisories until this system here continues to move on. All right, so that's the update to the watch, warning, advisory. Today and tonight, obviously, things are still underway. Travel is treacherous in the warned area, and even in the advisory area. I mean, I got about 2.25, maybe 2.5 inches of snow, slushy snow, wet snow where I live in northern western Johnson County, and roads there were just awful this morning. So even in the advisory area, it's bad in the advisory area and the warned area. So keep that in mind. And Monday, and Monday night, we still have, even though precipitation coverage is decreasing, however, obviously roads will still be dangerous where there's snow and ice pack. And then, there could be some leftover light wintry mix that lingers even into Monday night. So we're really not in the clear until we get into the middle of the week, and then late in the week, if I extended this out even further, we're looking at possible river flooding, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Here's the estimates. In the upper left, I've got well, it's not quite live. I'll show you live in a little bit, but 11 o'clock, you could see our rain snow line there. Just south of the I-85 corridor. It just amazes me every time we get a winter storm how the weather always conforms to I-85 and other major roadways. It's incredible how that always happens, but I-85 is a good delineator for where there's going to be the worst of the weather. And sometimes that cuts over to the east over toward Roanoke Rapids. So certainly, that was we probably underdid the snow amounts just a bit across the northern I-95 corridors, whereas, you got, 6-7+ inches of rain here in the very most northern I-95 corridor. But that's pretty typical. I-85 over to Roanoke Rapids is usually where it's the worst. South where you see the green, it's pretty much rain, or maybe on the northern fringe of the green area, maybe in northern Albemarle or Stanley County, there's still a touch of sleet, maybe some freezing rain. 2 p.m. Simulation shows that this simulation's probably a little bit behind time. It's probably a little bit running late. This rain line is probably a little bit further north than what this simulation is showing, but certainly by 5 p.m. Not only will the rain line be up to 85, up to I-85, but it will start to, here's the 85 corridor, and that's where, everything south of there should be rain by 5 p.m. But notice how it's sort of drying out a little bit across the southern portion of the state. And then, but the storm hasn't departed, so there's going to be clearly some additional light drizzle, maybe some light rain. You'll notice here north of 85 where the cold air lingers the longest, that's where we're going to continue to have the bulk of the freezing rain threat really right through this evening into tonight. I will point out we are updating our we're updating our ice accumulation graphics to depict how much ice we're expecting there. Now this obviously is falling on top of 6 to 8 to 10, in some cases a foot of snow in that area. So roads are already bad. So this freezing rain really isn't going to. I mean, like I said, it can't get any worse than it is now. What can get worse, however, is the number of trees that may fall. So where additional freezing rain occurs, you're already having trees come down. There could be even more. So we might be dealing with falling trees, particularly along the north of 85 right through this evening. So if your power's not out and you're along the north of 85, don't think that you're in the clear yet. It could go out yet. As we head through later today and tonight. Now, what about overnight tonight? This system's going to take its good old time getting out of here. So, and as it begins to pull out, it's not unusual for some colder air to come in on the backside. So, some of our simulations here are showing that there might be a mixed bag of precip types even lingering tomorrow. And I know these simulations are really messy, but that's oftentimes the way it pans out as a storm is exiting, some cooler air is getting in. There could be anything from snow to sleet to some freezing rain mixing in during the daytime tomorrow. And it's too difficult to point out exactly at this point what exact type areas are going to get. But I think the safe thing, the good thing I can tell you, though, is that amounts, whatever it is, whether it's snow, sleet, freezing rain, whatever it is, it's going to be pretty light tomorrow. It's not going to make, obviously, it'd be nice to have some sunshine to melt and, clear up some of those roads. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. But on the other hand, I don't think we're going to see a lot of additional precipitation. So anyway, that's the way tomorrow's kind of a nuisancey day precipitation wise. Okay, but I wouldn't call this a major event for tomorrow and tomorrow night. But stay tuned. We'll try to nail this down a little bit more for our afternoon update. All right, how much more snow? And this is additional snow from what has already fallen, and so this is not a storm total. This is how much more. And you're probably wondering, well, it's raining south of I-85. Why are you depicting snow down here? Okay, some folks might be wondering, and the reason for that is based on what I showed you on the screen before. Let me see if I can get that. So it's possible that again, some of this light snow could result in some very minor accumulations during the day tomorrow. So that's if I can get my PowerPoint here to work again. So that's what we're trying to depict there by the very light shade, the less than an inch shade there south of 85. That incorporates tomorrow. And most of what you see north of 85 will incorporate what's going to continue to fall today. So, if you're up along that last tier of counties along the Virginia border, it's possible you could see another 4 more inches of snow, So that's the way things are shaping up precipitation-wise as we head through. Now, I hesitated to keep this graphic in because we are in the process of updating it right now. So I just left this as a placeholder, but we are updating this right now because these numbers incorporate what has already happened. So don't think, say for example, you're down in Lillington, right, and you see that 0.03. That doesn't mean that we're going to get 0.03 more in Lillington. Although there could be a touch of freezing rain anywhere in central North Carolina through tomorrow. This is more or less what has already happened. So we're retuning this graphic, and then when we send out our slides later this afternoon, this will have fresh numbers in there. So this, as I said, this incorporates much of what has already happened. So anyway, I'm just left it in there to hold the place for it right now. All right, so it's pretty gusty. We're seeing wind gusts, easily in the mid 20s, close to 30 in many spots right now. We've heard of, a great number of power outages and trees down. So right as we expected. And then finally, I've been touching on this the last few days. All this snow, all this precip, ultimately when it all melts and finds its way into the river systems, there could be some issues with river flooding, particularly later this week when the next rainmaker arrives late in the coming week. So we'll be sending out additional briefings about possible river flooding as we head right through the week, because that could be a concern as we head through the week. So anyway, here's how it all wraps up. Winter storm obviously is resulting in treacherous travel conditions right through Monday. If you're along and north of 85, including the Triad and Roxborough, several inches of additional snow is possible. On top of what you already have. Later today, the precip may change to freezing rain and sleet with some additional accumulations possible. Obviously, travel will remain treacherous in this area. Gusty winds, the combination of that and the heavy snow and ice will result in scattered down trees and power lines. All right. If you're between 95 and 85, that includes the triangle, southern pines, surrounding areas. This rain, snow, sleet transition line is gradually lifting north across this region and is now roughly along the Highway 64 corridor, maybe just a bit north of that right now. Areas between Highway 64 and I-85 could see some light freezing rain, ice accumulations here as we head through the next few hours. Gusty winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour combined with the snow and especially ice will result in scattered down trees and power lines. We've already saw that on the news. There's a lot of trees down in the area. That'll continue. And then if you're again east of I-95, down near Fayetteville, maybe up toward Rocky Mount, mainly rain the rest of today. That rain line has moved through. Later tonight, the rain may mix back with a little bit of freezing rain, but mainly across the northern portions of this geographic region. Okay, light. Let me underscore the word light. Little. So not expected to be a big deal, but just something to note. All right, and then we're keeping an eye on the potential for river flooding next week, and that's the way things are shaping up. Let me just do a quick radar update here before I turn the recording off, and let's go ahead and loop this and just to get a sense. So this has been a great tool for us, the correlation coefficient. This tool does a spectacular job showing us where precip type transitions are occurring. So basically everything you see in this yellow band, that's where it's changing from snow, which is north of the band, to rain, mainly rain, which is south of the band. Okay, now it might be freezing rain if the ground is, sub-freezing, like you see here, for example. It's 32 in Sanford, so there might be a little bit of light freezing rain there. It's 30 in Asheboro. So even though that's south of the line, there could be some sleet and freezing rain there. But let me zoom out. Actually, I'm too zoomed in right now. Bear with me here. I want to grab the whole. I don't want to forget our friends in the southwest portion of central North Carolina. But north of this line that I'm drawing on the screen right now, that's where you have mostly snow. All right. So if you're again. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but here's I-85 right here over toward Roanoke Rapids. That's always a great delineator of precip types. And then here's the southern extent of that line right here. It's in between these two lines where we're having a lot of sleet occurring right now. And then south of there, it's falling as liquid. Okay, now the difference is when it falls as liquid, then you have to look at the surface temperatures, because if the surface temperatures are above freezing, like you see here in Goldsboro, or like you see here in Lillington, you see there's a 36. If the temperatures are above freezing, then that rain is just plain rain. Here's 34 near Southern Pines. But if the temperature is near, is at or below freezing, okay, then you're going to have freezing rain. So, northern Stanley County, you're 32, and it's falling as liquid. So there's a touch of freezing rain occurring right there. But down there, Wadesboro, it's 34 degrees. So all that is, even though it's liquid, it's falling as rain. So there you get the idea here. Let me put the correlation coefficient back on here. And just one more time, you've got the snow north of this line. You've got sleet in between the two lines, and then liquid falling from the sky south of this line. And then just depending on what your surface temperature then determines whether it's freezing rain or just rain. Okay, so it's mostly freezing rain in this area here, and then rain elsewhere. And that area will continue to lift to the north throughout the afternoon. All right, let me erase that and put the arrow back on here, and here's the way it looks on reflectivity. All right. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this briefing.